Haya plus Waw consecutive. This is an important module because this is a form that you'll see a lot in biblical narrative. What's basically going on here is that you'll take the verb to be, Haya, plus Waw consecutive, and this will be used with narrative sequences to set the temporal context. There are two forms. One sets the context in the past and the other in the future. So let's look at them both. The one that sets it in the past looks like this. We have a Vav, and we have a Patach, we have a Yud, no Dagesh, a Shava, or Hey, and a Hidik Yud. Now what this is Haya. Haya normally looks like this. This is the base form. Oops. This here is Haya in the preterite form with the Vav conversive. Now, it's a little irregular. We've dropped our Hey at the end. So this guy's gone. And the Dagesh is missing from the Yud. Now, this is because we have a Shava under it. This is not uncommon to drop a Dagesh when you have a Shava. It's called the coal mine rule. I think I introduced that to you before. Coal mine rule is the coal mine is the name. Coal mine. These letters, if they have a Shava under them and they're supposed to be double, they will often lose their Dagesh forte. So that's what's going on here. Any case, all this is not really that important. What you need to know is you need to learn this form, Vayhi, because it shows up all the time, and understand that it is the Haya in the preterite plus Vav consecutive, and it sets it in the past. Sets your narrative in the past. Let's see here. I've got to get my brush back. Literally, it means "and it happened." So you could translate a sentence like this: Vayhi vavoker vayeshmor, and it happened in the morning, and he kept. Okay, it's a little awkward. Older translations will often translate this literally. It'll say, and it happened, something, 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 and it happened, and it happened, and it happened. It's not necessary. In fact, it's better to leave it off. Usually you will not want to actually literally translate this. You just read that, you understand, okay, we're dealing with the past tense, therefore I'm going to translate my verbs in the past tense. So simply translate this: in the morning, he kept. In the morning, he kept. You don't need to say, and it happened in the morning, and he kept, or something. Okay, let's look at another example. Vayhi va'erev vayikach et Leah vito. This example is from Seo, page 231, and it comes from Genesis 29:23. And so, literally, again, you could translate this: and it happened in the evening, he took, this comes from a verb, lakach, means to take, and he took Leah, his daughter. But it would be better to simply translate, in the evening, he took Leah, his daughter. So again, you don't need to translate this, but you'll see this a lot. Vayhi sets it in the past. This is a Vav conversive, a preterite plus Vav conversive. Lakach is also a preterite plus Vav conversive. So these are the same forms. They're all in the past. This is actually an irregular verb. We'll cover this later. But just trust me for now. You can see the Vav conversive there with the preterite because you got Vav, Patach, and the Dagesh. That's unambiguous. And this one too, we can see it's Vav consecutive. Even though we don't have the Dagesh, we still have that Patach there. Okay, so that is the past tense form. The future is what you would expect. We have a Vav, and we have Haya. Haya. So this one is the perfect plus the Vav consecutive. The other one was the preterite plus Vav consecutive. So let's look at an example of this. This sets the future, or this sets the time in the future, And you could translate it literally, and will something, or and it will be that something will happen. So, v'haya vavoker v'halachta. Literally, and it will be in the morning you will go. Halach means to walk or go. Notice here we have an accent shift. So this is a 2ms form accent shift that tells us unambiguously that we have a vav conversive here. We'd probably translate that way anyway, but just to note the accent shift. But instead of saying, and it will be in the morning you will go, just say simply, in the morning you will go. That's a better translation. Another example here, v'haya vayom or bayom hahu v'karati l'avdi. Now this is, again, a SEO example, page 232, and this comes from Isaiah 22, verse 20. Literally, it will be on that day that I will call or summon my servant. But a better translation, instead of saying it will be, simply say, on that day I will summon my servant. So again, it's rare that you would want to translate this in, and it will happen in that day or something like that. Just leave this part untranslated. It's important. You know then that you're dealing with a future context, a future temporal context, and this verb then follows that. This is a perfect plus vav consecutive. This is a perfect plus vav consecutive. Now notice that even though this is the 1CS form, there is no accent shift. Remember I said 1CS and 2MS are the forms that can have the accent shift? I put this little mark in here, which is the cantillation mark or the accent mark from the Masoretic text. If you go and open up your BHS or a pointed Masoretic Hebrew text, you'll see this marker here, which means the accent is here. V'katar or v'karati, which is the normal place for the accent. So the accent did not shift, even though it could have. So just to note, the accent does not always shift in the v'katal form, or the perfect plus the vav consecutive. Maybe it would be good to view the module varying terminology. If you skipped it, view it anyway, just because I tend to flip around with these terms. At a minimum, you'll find it a little easier to follow me when I accidentally say v'katal t or whatever. That's if you haven't viewed that. Now, this is what you want to memorize. Guess I'll do my little green thing here. This, just know these two. Vayhi, v'haya. This is irregular, but it doesn't matter. Just learn it as it is. This is the one. This is the predicate form, and this is what will set it in the past. Vayhi and v'haya sets it in the future. Now, one thing to note. Over here, we know this sets it in the past. We know this is a vav consecutive, right? Because we have this patach here. Even though the dagesh is gone, we still have the patach. But with the perfect plus the vav, we are not sure necessarily which one we're dealing with here, vav consecutive or vav conjunctive. Is this going to set it in the future, or is this just a simple and? Now with this particular word, haya, v'haya is usually vav conversive or vav consecutive, and we're usually dealing with the future. There are, however, some cases where this needs to be translated as a simple and, in which case this would be and it was. Let me show you one example of that, just to show you what I mean. There's Hebrew in here you haven't taken yet, so I'll just translate it for you. This is from 1 Samuel 1, verse 12, and it's talking about Hannah, when Hannah was praying before the Lord and Eli was watching her. So to read it here, V'haya ki hirbeta lehitpalel lifnei Adonai v'Eli shomer et piha. Okay. The way this has to be read is, this is as she was, these two verbs together, as she was continually praying, or praying continually, or continuing to pray, as she was, this needs to be translated to past, as she was continuing to pray before the Lord, Eli was watching her mouth. You cannot translate this here, this v'haya, as a future. This is not setting this whole context in the future. It wouldn't make sense. The context tells you this has to be while she was praying, not while she will be praying. Eli was watching her. So context will tell you, but generally, when you see this at the beginning of a sentence, which is where it tends to show up, it generally means future. So what you want to do is learn this. Vayhi sets the past narrative, or sets the narrative into the past, and v'haya usually sets the narrative into the future. If it doesn't, you'll know from context. It'll be clear.